Hello and welcome to a special episode of Solo Inter podcast. It's the derby between Milan and Inter. And joining us today is Roshan from Milan Club India. Roshan, coming to you first, this season has been surprise for all of us in Serie A. I mean, we didn't expect to compete with Milan for the Scudetto. We were expecting Juve to be there, and all of a sudden it was Milan. Was it as surprising to you as well?
Absolutely. I mean, surprising, yes. In a way, I would just say, I think with the change in management, those changes that they have brought, the players that they have got, a lot of utility players. No big name signings as such, unless, apart from Zlatan, if you go to see. But, no one expected Zlatan to come at the age of 39 and basically change the entire dynamics of the team. So I think what Milan was missing was a leader in the dressing room, and we all know how Zlatan is and his never say die attitude. So I think he's kind of passed that on to the entire bunch in the dressing room, and I think they've just come together, and it's fantastic. Yes, and I'm also happy that both Inter and Milan are actually gunning for the Scudetto. So it's not no longer going to be just another season where, oh come on, yeah, Juventus is going to take this.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good to see both Milan clubs on top again. And Manish, coming to you, what are your views? Did you expect Milan to put up a fight this season, or were you also expecting it'll be a two-horse race between us and Juventus?
No, like Roshan said, Zlatan coming and joining Milan, that changed. I think when between he came in last season, he came in between, I think in the January Mercato he came in. And surprisingly, he made a statement, Zlatan, towards the end of season. If Milan had got me from the beginning, we would be challenging for the title. He said that, and I think everyone laughed it off. But he was actually dead serious about it. And now Milan are gunning for the title. So yes, like you both mentioned, it's since 2010, since 2011, I think first time in over a decade where the two Milan clubs are going for the title. And yes, it's been surprising because Milan, if you check, the players are quite young. It's a good mix of experience and youth players, and it's quite surprising overall the way they performed so far. It's good, actually. Like you said, like Roshan mentioned, it's a refreshing change from seeing always Juventus on top. So it's a good two-horse race between Inter and Milan, but let's not count Juventus out till the end, Gotham.
So yeah, Roshan. First of all, welcome to the podcast. So first of all, to begin with, I personally felt when I saw Milan's unbeaten run since last season post March, I personally felt that going into this season they would be there up there actually for the Scudetto race, while many didn't, because I felt that Zlatan has kind of instilled that mentality along with Pioli getting things right and a lot of utility signings, as you said. But coming to the main question, I wanted to ask you, after yesterday's Europa League match against Red Star Belgrade, do you think there is a certain competition that AC Milan need to prioritize on? Because I have noticed one thing about AC Milan is that they've not per se had a fully fit squad throughout the season. Like there have been some of the other absentees due to COVID and injuries and whatnot. And you see Benacer got injured again yesterday, and he was so important before his initial injury. So what do you think Milan need to do? Should they right away go for the Scudetto? Because it's, of course, they are right there in it. It's not like they can't do it, but then there is the Europa League as well. What competition would you prioritize on? Because at the end of the day, like I've heard some Milan fans say that the actual objective for AC Milan is to get into the Champions League. So do you want that via winning the Europa League, or do you think, forget the Europa League, we'll go for the Scudetto all in? What do you think? Yeah.
You want my personal opinion on this? I would rather they exit Europa League, because from the start, now we've been through the banter era. It's been what, almost 10 years now that we've won the Serie A, or even finished in the top four. In the past 6-7 years, we haven't played the Champions League, and Milan deserve to be in the Champions League. So as a fan, I mean, the more games and the more competitions they play, much better. Playing each leg of Europa and other competitions brings in that financial benefit in a way. But in my opinion, if we have to target the top four and a Champions League position, I rather that the team exits all the other competitions and actually focuses on the league, to be honest. Because once we qualify for the Champions League is where the finances will come in, the television rights would come in, the merchandising would improve, and there's just going to be a whole lot of finances that are coming in, especially when we have been hit and sanctioned by FFP. This is very important for us in a financially viable way to actually be in one competition, qualify for the Champions League, which is one, obviously, brings in the money, two, brings in better players. Because I mean, come on, at the end of the day, each footballer is a professional, and a dream of any young kid is to play in the Champions League. So, with Milan, yes, there is one thing that it's a big name and it attracts players, but also with that certain element that Milan is going to be playing the Champions League. So whoever they try to sign, they can obviously, know, the player would know that, yes, I get to play the Champions League along with the other greats of Europe. So that's more lucrative. So yes, my opinion, many would disagree. Many Milanisti would disagree. My opinion would be exit all the other competitions, focus on the league. But I know also of other Milanistis who want to win the Europa. What's actually happened, to be honest, is we never expected this, right? But now we expected, okay, top four finish. But now with the winning runs and the way we are playing, they made us believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because few years back we were in the same situation wherein like we won Europa League and we wanted to exit as well. We're like, no, let's concentrate on being in the top four. And then Divrai helped us unwittingly, but then after once we have got into the Champions League, we have been on a run and we have grown year after year. And I think one thing wherein I feel Inter have an advantage over Milan right now over getting players is players follow top coaches. Like we wouldn't have got Lukaku if there was no Conte. So I
Right.
still feel like Milan needs a big name coach if they have to attract players. But yeah, I get the feeling, like I get your feeling that they have to exit Europa League, concentrate on the Serie A because top four is really close, and everyone's the chasing pack is really close. And I feel yes, like Milan concentrating on the league rather than Europa is a valid feeling, and that's good.
Okay, Roshan, just I want to bring up Milan season has been quite surprisingly quite good. So overall, if you had to say a standout player for Milan, who would that be? And also asking if you had to choose one player from Inter to start for AC Milan, who would that be too?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. I think Milan. See, I mean, if you have to say a standout player, I'd actually, instead of one, I'd name two. Okay. What's been the catalyst is not Zlatan. Yes, in the dressing room, he's been the lion. He's been the lion on the field. But for me, in my opinion, it's the double pivot that Kessie and Benacer have started playing in the midfield. And, they are protecting the back line. And with Kair, the experience has also come in. And now that we've got Tomori, who is a pressing, very pacey center back, so things are improving. And I think this is where, if someone comes from a footballing background into management, like for Juventus, there's Nedved. For you guys, you have Conte, who's played football, and we have Pioli, who's played football, and now we have Maldini there, who's played football. So they can see players that would actually bring a difference. So it's not about big name signings at the end. I mean, look what happened to Madrid. With Madrid, when they had Beckham, Ronaldo, Figo, and Zidane, could never win the Champions League. I think what it takes is to find the right mix of players who would be there and probably fulfill what is needed, their role, And with the whole double pivot, so for me, it would be the outstanding player would be Kessie. And what the double pivot has allowed, the Benacer Kessie double pivot has allowed Hakan to be more free now, and
Right.
he has started providing a lot of more assists. And yes,
Perfect.
obviously we have Sales Makers as well, who's no one even knew that name, right? But he's turned out really well. So I think
So
it
you would
all
say,
comes down to
Roshan, to sum it up, just your main player
Kessie
would say
Benacer,
it's Kessie
Kessie
Benacer. All
and
right.
Benacer,
And if you
the
had to
double
take
pivot.
one player from Inter, who would that be? Standout player.
Oh, Barella.
Barella, yeah. Okay,
Absolutely,
and
Barella.
I think everyone
now,
expected the Barella as the answer.
and asking the same to Parmeshwar, if we had to choose one player from Milan, who would that be in our Inter squad?
Yeah. So it's my answer will be something close to what Roshan said. A lot of things, because I remember right now just Roshan said that Milan have the right mix of experience and young players, and it's the right players, because I remember when they tried doing this in 2017 when they bought Andre Silva, Ricardo Rodriguez and everyone, and it completely fell apart. But this time it's the right mix. They have Simon Kjaer, they have Ibrahimovic, so they have the right group. On top of that, you see that all of this mix has grown, has helped one player, in my opinion, grown a lot. That's Frank Kessie, and that's whom I would like to have as well. Because let's not forget, in January, if you remember, there was this news which Di circulated that Conte actually would have liked to have Kessie at Inter, because he has the exact characteristics which a Conte midfield would need. So I mean, if I had to sacrifice someone like a Gagliardini and get Kessie, why not? Of course, that's like a far-fetched dream, but it'll never happen. But yeah, I mean, overall, if I had to pick one from AC Milan, it has to be Kessie. And if I just had to pick one more, like just for the sake of it, I would say Theo Hernandez, because then we have issues on the left flank. Ashley Young is pretty much going to leave at the end of the season, and Perisic is still growing into the role. So either it's Kessie or Theo Hernandez. But if I had to go stick to the need of the hour for the team, then I mean maybe I would bump Theo Hernandez up the pecking order in that case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Right.
even for me, it's Theo Hernandez, because we need someone. I mean, having Theo on one side and Hakimi on the other side will be crazy. I mean, that will complete our team. Actually, Theo would actually complete our team if he comes to Inter. So that would be my pick. And Parmeshwar, one question to you. Like right now, we're concentrating on Milan or Inter. I mean, we have guaranteed that, okay, one of us are going to win, but Juve aren't that far off. And so are Napoli, Lazio. Like the training pack is very close. 2 bad game weeks and we are out of the top 4. Like, what do you think?
Atlanta is picking up speed as well now, by the way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
few, like couple or 3 bad game weeks and it'll be completely wide open again. So do you think we should be more careful now, like both teams going into the derby, knowing that should we, like a draw, is it a good result or would it be a bad result for both teams?
No.
That's an interesting question, because see, it's something connected to what Roshan said before. See, it's the thing is that everyone wants to see a new champion at this point. Like, come on, like everybody wants that Juventus dominance to end. So in that case, you would at least want any one team to win it. I mean, from the neutral perspective, at least you would either want Inter to go ahead further, or either you would want Milan back on the top. I'm saying it as a neutral. But of course, from an Inter perspective, of course, you want to win the derby. There's bragging rights and whatnot. And given that we lost the first one, and we still don't have we need the head-to-head advantage too. And I put it into perspective, Gotham, because we are only in one competition after all, right? So we have to, like, it's an obligation as of now to win it, go on and win it. With that being said, of course, there are so many good teams, like as you pointed out, Roma, you said, Roshan said Atalanta, Napoli, a couple of slip-ups and they can bounce back. And let's not forget, Juventus and Napoli still have their head-to-head fixture pending. So if one of them wins, they close the gap. And as you said, Gotham, you can never count Juventus out. Yes, they have their issues, tactically with Pirlo and whatnot in the Champions League. We saw that recently, but you can't count them out, man. Like they're right up there. I mean, when Milan faced Juventus, I was expecting AC. Like I know AC Milan had a few absentees here and there, and Calabria had to play in midfield, but I mean, I still expected the game to be slightly closer than what it was. So you can never count them out. So in that case, I don't really think either of the teams should like play too cautiously and go for a draw, because then Juventus is like right behind and they'll always come chasing. And if they're out of the Champions League as well, if they get knocked out, then they just have to wait to play the Coppa Italia final until May. So they're also free in that case. So I mean, if I had to say that, be it any team, both of them have to go out and play to win.
Yeah, Roshan, your view on this, like what would be Milan's mentality going into the game?
Win it. I mean, both teams are have found their form, and it's whether a draw would be a great result given the league. No, I think we shouldn't be. The derby is a footballing marvel. It's a footballing spectacular event, to be honest. And I think both teams will go for it, and because obviously there's history involved, and trying to play out a draw just to secure each other's position in the league, I think would be, I don't think would be the attitude of either Conte or Pioli. I think both teams would go for the win. And, like, Parmeshwar said, any slip up, yes, would result in the advantage for other teams to come ahead. But I don't think the attitude this season is such where we are going to probably park the bus or play safe, just to churn out 1 point each and see how the other results pan out. No, I think both teams are going to go for the win, and it's going to be a cracking match at the end of the day.
Nice.
Right. So Roshan, I just want to bring back to you again. So I think over the last decade, there was always an interesting matchup. There was Vieri versus Shevchenko. And over that has been a long time since then. Now it has come, I think, over a decade. Now it's Ibra versus Lukaku, round 2. We saw just in the beginning of the February, what happened. There was a heated argument, big clash between them. What's your take on that? Will it really see the game, the continuation of that war, or it's all cooled up? What's your take on that overall?
Both are fighters. I don't think both are going to back down. And at the end of the day, both are going to try to get an advantage attitude wise. See, to be honest, it's only in this season that we fans are probably hearing what the players are saying. Otherwise, this slander and this sledging has always been there. It's just that it's always been drowned down because of the stadium being full. But now with just the mics being there near the goal and it's just the players screaming at each other, and we fans can actually pick up on what they are saying. But coming to Ibra and Lukaku, they both are fighters. They both are on song. They both are not going to give each other an inch of, because it's all about mind games at the end, and it's the derby, and Lukaku isn't a character who's going to back down. He's a champion at heart. Ibra is a champion at heart. And yeah, they may have a go at each other. They are going to get under each other's skin. But you know what? I think at the end of the day, it will only be to the team's advantage. I don't think any one of them, given what happened in the past, would do something really stupid and get themselves carded, or because they both know equally that their absence is going to affect the entire team's performance.
Right. Perfect. So, and I'll come back to Parmeshwar now. Parmeshwar, what do you have to say? Because I think this is one of the strongest Milan we have seen in the longest time. If you had to choose combined 11 of Inter and AC Milan, if you had to take a quick pick, what would be your quick pick?
So I guess what we can do is maybe have like Roshan name a few Milan players if he wants to, because the first hardest thing in my opinion would be picking a formation, right? Because they play 4 at the back, we play 3 at the back, and while Milan have played 3 at the back under Gattuso at times, I think it's still hard to pick. But I guess if we had to start somewhere with keepers, it has to be Donnarumma. There's no questions about it. Although Samir has been doing well in the last few games, there's no questions about Donnarumma being better now. So I mean, what do you think, Roshan? Like, should we stick to 3 at the back or 4 at the back? What would you do?
It depends on the coach. You want to go for Conte or Allegri between the two?
Yeah. I mean, if it's, yeah.
I think stick to what has been. The derby is no time to experiment, in my opinion. Right. So stick to your current formation is what I would say. And I think a 3-man would have been better when Gordon was there. But now that Gordon is no longer with Inter, I think a 4 at the back for you guys definitely is the way to go. I think you guys play regularly. You all play a 4-3-3, right?
No, it's more of a 3-5-2. But what we mean to ask is, like, if you had to make a combined 11 of both teams, like what formation would you pick in that case? And then what players would you pick?
Oh, okay. For Milan?
No, like combined 11 of both clubs, like both the Milanis, like we make a combined 11 of the current player team basically. So what formation would you go with?
So Donnarumma in goal.
Yeah.
I think Calabria.
Yeah.
Romanogli, Theo on the left. The centre back is for Inter. I think he's been doing really well. Yeah. Skriniar has been doing really well. In midfield, I would go for a Kessie Barella, right? And obviously on the right, I would try to want to probably have Eriksen as a CAM in the mix, and up ahead would be Zlatan and Lukaku, obviously, at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so Kessie Barella would be great because Barella is very offensive, while Kessie can always fall back. Kessie is a workhorse, and like I said, I'd want to have Eriksen in the mix because it's Eriksen. He may not do anything for 75 minutes, and then suddenly there'll be this
Yeah.
magic moment, and he'll come alive.
He
And
might
that's
score a
something what
free kick.
Ronaldinho had.
Yeah, the free kick was a problem.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, all credits to Eriksen. That's he was one
Yeah.
of my favorite players in Tottenham as well, and along with Isco from Madrid. So if I have to like other players from other teams, these are a few names that pop up. Benacer, the first season, I was very skeptical because he was getting carded very regularly. But I think when he formed a double pivot with Kessie, the understanding, I think it's just turned out to be. But I'd still, obviously he's ruled out of the game. That's why Barella comes into the picture. But a Kessie Barella would be very exciting to see. And obviously on the left, I think I would definitely want a Rebic because he just does not let go. He just keeps running. He'll just chase every ball that is thrown at him. And I think that, him just cutting in once he gets the ball and you have two monsters, Ibra and Lukaku in between. I think that would be my ideal 11.
Yeah, Parmeshwar,
Perfect,
what would your be?
I mean, since I'm too used to seeing Conte play the three at the back end, because I know Milan have done it before, and and at the same time, Conte has played a 4-3-1-2 in transition, right? So let's say I'll probably stick to a four-man backline with, of course, the keeper has to be Donnarumma, and there's no doubt about it. On the right, I would actually have. I would have Hakimi over Calabria. I know Calabria is good, nothing away from him, but I just personally would have Hakimi on the left. It has to be Theo and there's no questions. Centre back pairing, since it's four at the back, I would actually take Kjaer and Skriniar. And since I'm going with a 4-3-1-2, my three-man midfield would be Brozovic, Barella, and Kessie. And the tricky one would be like, if I go on current form, the trequartista behind the strikers would either be Eriksen or Hakan, but then Hakan has been good throughout the season, so I'll probably pick Çalhanoğlu in the trequartista role, and up front it has to be Lukaku and Ibrahimovic. Yeah, that's my combined level.
Nice. So here are some stats. Like before we go into the predictions, I'd like to say some stats for the derby. So we have faced each other 177 times, and Inter have won 68 times, while Milan have won 54. But this year, the first leg was won by Milan, which was their first win in 9 attempts. But Inter won 4 of the last 5 matches, so it's pretty even. And we have Lukaku, who is the joint top scorer in Serie A right now, along with Ronaldo. But Ibra has the highest average for goals scored. Like he scores a goal every 68 or 69 minutes. So I think we'll expect both of them to be on the score sheet this derby for sure. So those are some interesting stats for this time. And coming to the prediction.
If you ask the prediction, what I think Inter's pretty much to stick the same. We had a whole good week's rest. So pretty much, I would say the same formation which we're going to use with 3 men at the back. Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni, the back 3. And Danovic at goal. Hakimi, Barella, Brozovic, and Arthur Vidal. If Arthur Vidal is fit, he's going to be there. If not, Eriksen is going to take that post. And left, I think, is going to be Perisic. And they're going to start with Lautaro and Lukaku. So pretty much unchanged 11 from last week. The only doubt which I have is Vidal's fitness. If Vidal is not fit for this game, then Eriksen is going to start, most likely.
Oh, for some reason, I believe it'll be Eriksen over Vidal this time. Because I think Vidal's fitness, he might not give the full 90. So Vidal might come in at 70th minute or something if Conte decides to use substitutes. Or then otherwise it'll be Eriksen itself for me.
I just add to that. The thing is, Vidal just returned to group training yesterday, so I don't think he'll start. And it's better if he comes off the bench because Eriksen is showing the right attitude as well. And it's unfortunate that Milan have Benacer injured, we have Sensi injured once again. Not that he would have started, I guess, but yeah. So I think it's pretty much that Vidal has to be conserved for the bench because then you don't have Sensi and then you can't rely on Vecino. So I think my predicted 11 will be pretty much the same as Manish. The only change would be Eriksen starting. Yeah.
Yeah, Roshan, coming to you, what is your predicted 11 for match against Inter?
With all the injuries and everything going, so Donnarumma in goal, Calabria on the right, Tomori and Romanogli in the middle, Theo on the left. We'll definitely, I'm definitely going to see, I think, Maite and Kessie in the middle. And then it'll be Rebic on the left, Hakan, Sales Marcus on the right, and up front Zlatan.
Nice. So let's do the score prediction now. And coming to Manish first, what do you think will be the score line?
So, guessing by the fact Inter had a good week's rest and by the fact we lost the first derby, so this is the second one, and considering Inter's form off late has been good, and Milan's form, I think since 2021 started, the year started, I think our last 7 matches they had 3 defeats. So going by that form, I think Inter should win this. It's going to be a close match. Like I said, derbies are never easy. It's all fought to the last minute. I'm expecting a 2-1 win for Inter with Lukaku once again proving he's the king of Milan, and maybe the header by De Vrij because he always tends to score in the derby. That's my prediction, Gautam.
Yeah, Parmeshwar, coming to you, what do you think will be the score line?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty bold by Manish, but I mean, I don't want to get carried away with the form and everything. Like, I believe that the team, I know they know how to stay grounded, and even Conte knows that. Because in the derby, in my opinion, at least a lot of the form goes out the window, and anyone can show up. And Milan have shown great perseverance and mental strength this season to bounce back, and especially against it's a derby, so they'll be motivated. So I'm not going to count them out. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. I mean, I'd rather give more of a biased prediction just because I want Inter to win rather than a more realistic one because I'm just finding it hard to put a finger on it. So I'll just say like a 2-1 win for Inter. And I don't know the scorers, but I'm pretty sure Zlatan and Lukaku will probably bag a goal each. Yeah.
Yeah. And Roshan, coming to you now, what do you think will be the score line?
Given Inter's run into form, yeah, they definitely come into this derby as favorites. But it's a derby, and it's those 90 minutes where just the fact that the players know that just the fact that it's Inter and it's a derby, it's just going to bring in that extra, pace in the step. So I would say a 2-1 to Milan, just like last time, with Zlatan and Lukaku both being on the score sheet. It's going to be a very interesting midfield battle, according to me. And it's not. I don't think it's going to be any scruffy goals or any lucky goals. Uh, I think it's a 2-1 to Milan again.
Okay, and somehow, like as I mentioned before, no one liked it, but I think it will be a high-scoring draw. It'll either be 2-2 or 3-3. And like Roshan said, it won't be a fluke goal. But I think tiredness will come into the play and it will be a magic. Like someone is going to score some magical goals. Like either it'll be Ibra or Lukaku, Lautaro, maybe Eriksen, you never know. But I feel it's going to be a high scoring draw. So I'll say 3-3. It's going to be a 3-3 draw and very entertaining match.
I'd just like to add something before we cap it off, Gautam. Actually, something Milan have done for the derby, and I think it's a pretty impressive thing, is that they've sold virtual tickets for the match in the San Siro. So there will actually be some fans in there, and the money goes to charity completely. So that's a pretty impressive initiative, in my opinion, at least. I think Inter need to start considering all this. Like we have put up fan wall and everything, but I think Inter need to take a step above. But yeah, just wanted to say that pretty impressive by Milan. So there will be some fans, at least in a way, for the derby. So yeah, just over to you, Gautam.
So, folks, that was another episode of Solo Inter podcast with our special guest Roshan from Milan Club India. Do leave us comments like who is going to win the derby, what would be the score line, and follow us on Spotify and other channels. We'll give the links in the description. We'll see you after the derby. Thank you.